Hi everyone, my name is Jason Lam, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at CentreCourt, and I'm excited to talk to you about all things 8 Wellesley, but I'm also going to be talking about a lot of themes that are happening in the marketplace, both on the resale side, pre-construction side, and a lot of the positive headlines we've been seeing as of late. But before we get started into anything, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I want to sort of just talk about the main themes that we're going to be addressing today, and the first would be the importance of Yonge Street. It really is the lifeblood, the backbone of our city, and dare I say, you'll never see another Yonge Street in the GTA ever again. And for those of you that are tuning in, you know that the market is thriving and the headlines are a bit deceiving. We've seen a number of transactions at really high price points, both on the pre-construction side and the resale side, and that sets us up for a huge year in 2021, which I believe will be the year of condos. And it starts with 8 Wellesley, priced to sell as the first major launch of 2021. Now, we've been hearing some great news as of late. It's been quite a miracle, and it sets us up for a huge future, especially in 2021, and it's going to be a big launch pad into a big boom that I believe. And the first is interest rates. We're seeing record interest rates in terms of how low they can really get, and that gives so many people so much more purchasing power, but more than anything, you're seeing its effect on the low-rise market. You're seeing inflation take place, and again, sales prices just hitting record highs, and that's a good sign. For those of you that aren't paying attention to the real estate market, you should take a look at these TREB market reports because they are remarkable. Now, transitioning into, I guess, the rental side, the government is allowing international students back into the city, and that's a good sign. Q3 of 2020 has seen some of the highest number of rentals in the GTA that we've seen in a long time. So the glass is half full, not half empty, and we're seeing a lot of the positivity coming out of that. And it all comes down to a COVID vaccine. Right now, we know more about where we stand with this vaccine than we have in the last 10 months. And it puts us in a great position because we're at the 1-yard line of this vaccine, in some cases 95% effective, and that's great news because I want you to get ready to think about life after COVID. That's important because this is all about having a mid to long-term outlook. Now, the best news we've received recently is the Canada's immigration policy that the Trudeau government has recently announced. This year alone, we brought in 128,000 new immigrants, but what we're finding out is that over the next 3 years, they're bringing in 1.2 million qualified, educated individuals from around the world, and I think that sets us up for a huge boom because that's going to be a lot of demand that we simply cannot meet, and nobody benefits from a very aggressive immigration policy than the GTA real estate market. And this is paramount. This is an express highway to sort of pre-COVID market, and that's a good sign. So again, these headlines are important for you to know, to arm yourself with this knowledge, because what's going to happen next is going to be very exciting in our market. And I think it's important for us to understand the drivers of our market, what was taking place before, what was fueling our market, and really you'll notice that it's the same things that are going to continue to drive our market for many years to come. And the first is going to be our very aggressive federal immigration policy. That's become more aggressive. We're seeing historically low interest rates today, as low as 1.54% on a 5-year fixed, believe it or not. And the GTA is the economic engine of Canada. It is today, it will always be, and we're actually seeing a big price gap between low-rise and condos, which is becoming a little bit uncomfortable, and that's a great opportunity. But more than anything, with the immigration information that we've certainly recently heard about, we have long-term undersupply that we simply just have no chance in meeting, and that's good for condo investors. Let's switch gears for a second. I want to talk about pre-construction condos. At the beginning of the COVID times, the real estate market kind of went to sleep, and I don't blame you. A lot of people were not thinking about real estate. We weren't thinking about selling it. People weren't thinking about buying it. And as we sort of came out of COVID and the lockdowns were loosening up, Starting in Q3, we saw a number of high-profile launches, including CentreCourt's 199 Church, and we were all very apprehensive. We didn't know what was going to take place. Even the experts didn't know. We had a great feeling, but we didn't just do well, we did exceedingly well. We sold over 6,300 new homes, but we saw record numbers, and that's a good sign. But the reason why I think we had so much success is really two reasons, and there might be 3 or 4 that you can actually share with us. But the first is the pent-up demand. There's a lot of people that were waiting on the sidelines, and we've got this natural DNA to own and invest in real estate on the pre-construction side. But more than anything, I believe that people had a sensible, logical, mid to long-term outlook, and they came out in droves. And the truth is, at that time, they didn't know when there would be a vaccine. I mean, today, right now, we are in a much better position. We know exactly what's happening. We understand there's an aggressive immigration policy. So the truth is, really, we are in a better position today than we have been in a long time in terms of knowing where the market is. Now, when I started my career 10 years ago, it was always with the advice from many people, including Andrew Hoffman, who's the CEO of our company, to keep an eye on low-rise, because I decided to keep my focus on pre-construction condos. And low-rise always set the table for demand and price appreciation, and it couldn't be more true. And timing is everything. Right now is the time to invest in condos. And the reason why that is because I believe there's tremendous value based on what we've seen in the low-rise market. At the beginning of this year, we saw a price gap between a semi-detached home and a condominium reach as high as $162,000, and in the detached world, up to $400,000. And I would say that if you spoke to anyone on the street that is not familiar with real estate, they would think that it's the same or it actually went down. But that's actually not true at all. On the contrary, the price gap between low-rise and condos just exploded with so much demand in the low-rise market. And it's not because condo prices went down. In fact, condominium prices just kind of stayed the same. And again, in a global pandemic, I want you to think about this. Our real estate market is still powering through. We're seeing a record number of transactions relative to last year. Our average sold price is some of the highest we've ever seen in our market history. And this is remarkable. And now we're going to come out of COVID with low interest rates, with very aggressive immigration policies. So that sets us up for a huge boom. So as you can see in this graph here, semi-detached almost doubled in price gap. And in detached, we went up around 43, 44%. And that's telling because, I believe that the past often tells us about the future. And we can go back in time to 2016 and onward and see key trends that is going to tell us exactly where the condominium's going to be and how we can take advantage of that. So we're going to look at 2 lines here. And the first is going to be the delta, the price gap between a detached home and a condominium, and then I'm going to drop in the average GTA condo price, and you're going to notice the relationship that they carry together and the trends that we're setting. This is a big one. This is where you're going to learn a lot. So bear with me here. I hope you're following. This line here represents the price gap between an average sold detached and a condo. So, for example, in January 2016, we just passed over 450,000. Now, in 2016, we saw a meteoric rise in demand for low-rise, and we all know the resale game. It's multiple offers. It's kind of blind. So, you've got a list price of $899. You submit an offer for $975, and it sells for $1.6 million, and you have no idea what just happened. And it happens over and over and over again. And we went into a frenzy in 2017. It kind of never stopped. If you look at that graph, you've just seen this huge rise, and your eyes are not fooling you. In 2017, the price gap between a detached home and a condominium exceeded $700,000, which is extreme. And today, in front of you right now, you're living, you're breathing it, you are seeing firsthand a very similar market. And it's the sharpest incline in the shortest amount of time that we've seen in recent history. And again, we can learn from the past. So let's drop in the price of the average sold GTA condo. And if we go back in time, let's rewind a little bit here, we saw that the low-rise saw tremendous demand, which drove up massive price appreciation. And what happens to condos? They followed shortly after, right? They caught up. They had to play catch-up as the most affordable unit, the other option. And as the price of condos increases, the gap has to go down. We reach a very nice equilibrium there, and the market's very healthy. Condos have caught up. And for a several number of years there, we start to see condominiums become mainstream, and we start to see transactions increase, in fact, surpass low-rise. It becomes, people understood the lifestyle, the convenience factor, the amenities, and I think that was really great. We saw, again, you can see there firsthand the price appreciation. And as prices went up in condos, the price gap went down, and we started to see a lot of value. I'm not going to lie, we saw a lot of value in the low-rise market, and it kind of really sort of popped off in the market that you're in right now. Mid-2020, GTA detached homes just saw an unprecedented demand, very similar to 2016, 2017, the hottest years we've seen on record. And the signs of the past often tell us sort of what may happen. This has happened before. In fact, nothing's happened this sharply in this amount of time. And that really sets us up, because I believe that the condo market is set to see a big boom. As you can see by comparison, in the same amount of time, condominiums haven't really changed, and we see this huge spike in low rise. So I want to summarize. Again, now we know so much, and there's so much to be excited about. So we know that the immigration policy is more aggressive than it's ever been. Who's the biggest winner? The GTA real estate market. We know that interest rates are going to remain low and giving people way more buying power. You're going to see prices increase. The COVID vaccine is literally imminent. We're about to see it very soon. Again, think about mid to long term, life after COVID. We need to start getting ready for that, for ourselves and for your business. Resale market, thriving. A pre-construction market, thriving. Again, mid to long-term outlook. And we're seeing a huge gap that's becoming uncomfortable between low-rise and condo. And that's why I believe with these 5 points, 2021 will be massive, and you need to be a part of that. And it won't just be massive, 2021 will be the year of condos. You heard it here first. And nobody knows condos more than CentreCourt. We've been in this business for 10 years. We put together one of the most attractive or impressive track records in the business with 16 launches. Again, most builders would have launched 1, maybe 3, maybe 4 launches in 10 years. And here we are about to embark on our 17th, 18th, and 19th projects, because we're going to have a huge 2021. Again, I want you to be a part of that. But more importantly, 0 cancellations, 0 days of interim occupancy. These are things that we value as a developer. We want to continue to be the best. We want to make sure our broker partners are proud to work with us, and more importantly, we want our buyers to be excited to buy with us. And little details like 0 days of interim occupancy means that when you get your keys, it's 1 closing, that's it. But more importantly, the amenities are done, the lobby's finished, you're not moving into a construction zone, and that's important for resale and rentals. And these are the little things that CentreCourt thinks about, and we continue to try and add on as we continue to grow, because we're not done. Now, next I want to talk to you about Yonge Street. It's so important. It's such an iconic street. It literally is the lifeblood of our city. And we took almost a novel survey, and we asked, what's the most valuable street? And it's unanimous that everyone agreed that it's Yonge Street. And I didn't, when I was young, it was very clear that Yonge Street, in fact, it was the only street I knew because of the subway, because of all the retail, because of all the commercial, because of all the infrastructure associated with it. And like I said, it's the lifeblood. It's the most recognized street on the international scale, but more importantly, you'll never see Yonge Street again. And it makes it so important and valuable because it intersects all the key streets in the downtown core in north of the city. It doesn't matter. It's the beacon. Everyone needs to go to Yonge Street. Everyone gravitates to Yonge Street. And when you do, you've got the Ryersons, the financial district, the Yonge and Dundas Squares, the subway, which is the most important one, Lifestyle in Yorkville, which we all love, and U of T. And it's so important that you realize you can't build these overnight. You can't just drop these in other communities. You can't just develop them in the 905. These are institutions that continue to grow their roots in the downtown core, and they will always be in demand. And Yonge Street just sits in such elite company. There's very few streets like Yonge that have the presence, the power, the infrastructure that Yonge has to offer. Whether you're in New York City or you're in Paris, in Dubai, London, Shanghai, Toronto, or any other major city, yes, they are older cities and they share share a lot of the big infrastructures, all the things that you'd want. But Yonge Street has everything in one. It has the burden and the responsibility to be the engine of the city. And more than anything, wanting to invest. And naturally, when you have this, you want something close. You want something on Yonge, right? That makes a lot of sense. But the truth is, over the last 5 years, there have been such few opportunities, especially in the downtown core. And I'll get to that in a second. I want to look at launches on Yonge from Finch all the way down to the waterfront within 200 meters. And the reason why I use Finch is because of the subway, the lifeblood of our city. And we've only seen 22 launches, which is nothing. It's just a drop in the bucket. It's 1 in 26 launches. So now when we look at Yonge Street south of Yorkville, the true downtown core, when you tell me downtown, as someone who's born and raised in downtown core, a lot of people have different descriptions of downtown. 416 is a very vast space, but when you tell me downtown, true downtown, it's Yonge Street, south of Bloor, south of Yorkville, south of maybe even Davenport, and it's been even more limited. We've seen 12 launches over the last 5 years, which is nothing. It's 1 in 48. It's almost 1 in every 10,000 units that come online is in this super rare pocket of the city. Now, over the last couple of years, we've seen an emergence in 905, which is tremendous. We're seeing a lot more activity. We're growing as a city. We're branching out. Developments are really taking place. And that's a great sign for the development and growth and long-term trajectory of the GTA. And we're seeing less 416 launches for a variety of reasons. Part of it is from a land cost perspective and construction costs. I think people are sort of taking a second look, second guess, waiting for the market to catch up. Acquiring land, assembling land is becoming increasingly challenging. And really in 2020, it's the first time we've ever seen 905 surpass 416 in terms of new market share in the new home sector. And again, I'm not here to knock 905. I think it's a great, again, all of 905 communities are wonderful. But when you look at this picture, it really tells you everything you want to know when it comes to, in particular, investing in real estate. You want to invest in something that's becoming more and more scarce while it's becoming more and more in demand. And so when you think about the 416, in truth, the downtown core, Yonge Street, land has become so incredibly scarce. It's so hard to develop. And whereas the 416 is virtually limitless. They're all the same stories. Scarcity is not a factor. And scarcity, when you're investing, when you're trying to make money, is so vital, which lends me to 8 Wellesley. Now, for those of you that have been following CentreCourt for the last 10 years, you know that we really do pride ourselves in location. We have some of the best locations that any developer's ever brought, and we've got a great portfolio of that product. And when I tell you that this is the best location we've ever brought to market, that really is saying something. We may never bring a site of this caliber to market ever again. And that kind of scares me because I'm so excited about 8 Wellesley. So I want to talk about the area. I want to talk about the location in particular. But remember, no one's more bullish than the downtown than us because we understand. For those of you that like Ryerson, that value U of T, that think that public transportation is the best of many, if you think being close to a financial district is valuable, then 8 Wellesley is where you want to be right now. We are located on the northwest corner of Yonge and Wellesley. Again, that's a northwest corner. If you just cross the street, you've got access to Wellesley subway station. You can literally throw a baseball and hit the front door. And when you wake up every day and Yonge and Wellesley is your home base, and you're able to step outside that door and have access to the subway like this, it gives you access to limitless opportunities. And it's not just that. Go to the north, you've got one of the most affluent communities, which is Yorkville. Everyone loves Yorkville. And then you've got University of Toronto to the west of you. This may be the closest condominium launch to U of T we'll see in many years, and they just become online so rarely, but this is the #1 ranked university in Canada. It's the most recognized university institution in worldwide on the international stage for us. And then we've got Ryerson. So we've got 100,000 students. We're wedged between these two mega power institutions, and then you drop in the big 5 hospitals that sort sort of make up the university health network, tech and innovation, high-end employment. This is all great. Then we've got the landmark of Yonge and Dundas Square. Everybody knows Yonge and Dundas Square. Again, piecing together the lifestyle, because it doesn't matter what direction you're in. And again, when you're downtown, you're in the heart of the city, you want to be steps to the financial district because you've got tech jobs, finance, law. It's really quite endless. And if you look at this map, you're in the center of it all. These will never go away. And if you value these, then this is why you're going to understand why 8 Wellesley is so vital when it comes to adding this to your condominium portfolio. And so when you bring together a site like 8 Wellesley, it's so important to make sure that we put together a building that's mature, that's sophisticated, that's classy, that really does personify elements of Yorkville and U of T in the financial district. We want something that is timeless. And I'm telling you right now, both inside and outside, this is going to be the most beautiful, the best building CentreCourt has ever brought to market. And it all starts with the first impressions when you come home, when you bring a friend over, when you're doing a resale listing or doing a rental. The lobby is everything. So we've got this beautiful grand piano, a chandelier. Obviously, we always love to be furnished by Fendi. It's all about the best brands. But this sets the tone. This sets the tone for what to expect in the rest of the building. And believe me, the rest of the building is primo. And we go into the amenity space where we've got indoor and outdoor space, approximately 21,000 square feet. And you can see the elements of the lobby come through these spaces. Again, it's all about putting together the right package, and in a world where we're working from home, you need a great shared co-working space. And that sort of lends itself to fitness. Obviously fitness is a big part of our lifestyle, especially in the downtown core. And we don't just have any gym. This is a 6,000 square foot gym that's 24 hours a day at your doorstep, perfect for the post-COVID world. And then, like I mentioned, inside and outside, interior and exterior, this building is going to be the best spec building CentreCourt has ever brought online. You're going to want to be a part of this, and because it really does personify the Yonge and Wellesley corridor. And I want to talk about floor plans next. And one of the most important things about floor plans is that we design it with all of these considerations in mind. It's such a diverse community. It's so complex, and the demographics really do go and cover all the bases. So we design this with that in mind, and we're proud because we always have efficient functional layouts. On the bottom right-hand side, you can see our key plate. The legend, and you can see that we've got 2 studios, 5 one-bedrooms, 2 1+ dens, 3 2-bedrooms, and 1 3-bedroom. And I want to take you through them. Again, I think we really did match the area perfectly. The team at CentreCourt really did extensive research to find out what would do best on resale, and here we are. We've got studios for those that are students and young professionals that don't have time to be at home. They're too busy. We've got 1-bedrooms, highly efficient. Again, nothing over 500 square feet. Perfect for the neighborhood. We've got 1+ dens for those that are growing up a little bit more, taking the next step. And then my favorite, the 2 bedrooms on the corner, split beds, no interior bedrooms, 2 full baths, tons of windows, as you can see here, lots of window space there. And then we've got our 3-bedroom, which I think is the best purchase in the building. It's where I've made the most amount of money. Mainly because if you really look at it, the market only brings about 10% of the product is a 3-bedroom. So 90% is everything else. You got this rare gem. And I do believe that we're going towards roommate living. And so that's where you're going to get the most amount of value. But the truth is, there is nothing that's bad from this building. Every single purchase is ideal because this area caters to everyone and all. So let's look at some of the things that I can share today. Those of you who have been tuning in, paying attention, we're at 8 Wellesley West on the northwest side of Yonge and Wellesley. We've got 599 opportunities. That's it. Once we're through, you'll never get this opportunity again, and we'll be across 55 stories. We're coming to you, okay? Early 2021, so you need to act now. You need to get ready now. It's time to mobilize and get ready with all this information, and we're ready in 2025. By 2025, COVID will be a thing of the past. By 2025, you'll see over 1.2 million new, educated, qualified immigrants in the city, creating unprecedented demand. And by 2025, you are going to want a condominium in the best location in the city at Yonge and Wellesley. And we're fully zoned because when you align with CentreCourt and BAZIS, we make sure that we put our best foot forward and mitigate any risk. And this is what it's all about. And you should follow us on on Instagram, CentreCourt Inc. This is where you're going to get exclusive content, rare content. It's exciting. It's a lot of fun. So you should follow us there. Get all the information. Again, I can't be more excited about this project. We've learned so much. We've talked about so much. We're coming at you early 2021. You're not going to want to miss out. And so I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today to learn more. I hope you learned. I hope you're excited. There's a lot to be excited about. Before I go, we're going to show you a really cool video about the beautiful architecture and design of our building. And again, reach out to our team. We can't wait. It's time to start now. 2021 is going to be the year of a condo, and I want you to be a part of it. So thank you so much, and have a great day.